स्टूडेंट्स, मैं परमजीत सिंह आप सबका वेलकम करता हूँ। मैंने लेक्चर सीरीज तैयार की है। इस लॉकडाउन की कंडीशन में आप तक किस तरह पहुँचें और किस तरह मटेरियल पहुँचाएं, ये इसका मुख्य उद्देश्य है। स्टूडेंट, दिस इज परमजीत सिंह. I have created a series of lecture, and this condition of lockdown, my aim is how to reach to you, how to provide some solution to you, and to help you at your place. For this, I am running online lectures on Zoom also, and recording the lectures for other students who are not joining me on Zoom. So today I have come up with a very beautiful presentation, very enlightening presentation in a very simple way. So let us start. So scheme of today's lecture is three segments are there: Coulomb's law, other units of charges, and forces between the charges. So in Coulomb's law, there are three subparts: scalar and vector form of Coulomb's law. What is dielectric constant? That is relative permittivity, and definition of 1 coulomb. In second segment, other units of charges. There are sub parts of this segment: ESU, unit of charge, electrostatic unit of charge; EMU, electromagnetic unit of charge; and another unit, microcoulomb. In third section, forces between the multiple charges. Through diagrams, through mathematical expressions, and how to interpret the mathematical expression, this all we will discuss in this module, or say today. So once again I welcome all of you. Be positive, be energetic. You utilize this time for your development. This is the best time you are having. You can concentrate. Forget all these things. Just take care. Stay safe. So let us know. Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law has some restrictions, some limitations. One of the most important limitation is this works for point charges. Now what is point charge? This is relative term. Here I have mentioned that if linear size of the object carrying charges is very negligible, much smaller than the distance between the charges, then this will be considered as point charge. Point doesn't mean dot. Point means size of the object carrying charge appears to be point size as compared to the separation between them. Now think over it. This is same as point mass, concept of point mass in the gravitation. So this is clear. Coulomb's law has restrictions, limitations. One of the important limitation is this point charge. We will discuss few other limitations at the end or in next lecture. So now what is Coulomb's law? And I want to clear that this is experimental law, not hypothetical. Law has been derived through experiments. First experiments were performed, then law was discovered by the Coulomb. So what is this law? According to this law, 2-point charges have some interaction in form of force. This force may be either repulsion or attraction. We have studied it. So according to Coulomb, magnitude of this force between two charges is directly proportional to the magnitude of the product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the charges. Very simple law. And this has analogy with Newton's law of universal law of gravitation. What was that? According to Newton's universal law of gravitation, two masses, two material bodies always attract each other with some force of attraction, and this force of attraction is directly proportional to the product of the masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the masses. Same. This is also inverse square law. Newton's universal law is also inverse square law. This is also experimental law. Newton's universal gravitational law is also universal law, experimental law. Two bodies attract each other with same forces, material body, and these forces act along the line joining the masses. Here again, force between two charges acts along the line joining the charges. So this is very interesting. Analogy, some comparison, we will do it later on. But slightly I am introducing you. So, now, what is exact quantitatively? What should be the exact formula? This is qualitatively. We are saying that force is directly proportional to the product of charges, inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Just qualitatively, just discussing, we are discussing property. What exactly, quantitatively, what should be the right equation? For that we need to remove the sign of proportionality here. See this first box, sign of proportionality is there. We have to remove it. We replace it by sign of equality, but we have to use some constant, small k. So now Newton's law is magnitude of F is equal to K magnitude of Q1 Q2 divided by R square. Now next aim is what is the value of the K. In SI system its value was calculated at that time 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Now new term has come, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. All these three statements are in scalar form, not in vector form, because we have not used any direction here, and we are using magnitude, scalar form. So value of this K proportionality constant was found to be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Now new term has come, that is epsilon naught. Epsilon prime. What is this? This is permittivity of the free space. It means here we are discussing the forces when charges are placed in vacuum and in SI system. This 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is in SI system. So value of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught was found to be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Epsilon naught is called the permittivity of the free space. So epsilon naught is the permittivity of the free space. Now see, 4 pi is constant. So this factor decides or determines the force. Here this factor epsilon naught is for free space or vacuum. If there is no vacuum, some other medium, water, any other medium, so in that case we have to change this epsilon naught also. So what is permittivity? This is the property of the medium which determines the magnitude of the force between the charges. It means This clearly hints that if we place same charges at same distances in different mediums, force between them will be different. Magnitude of force will be different. So permittivity is that property. That property on which force depends. So here epsilon naught is just for the vacuum, or for approximation we take it for air also. Same in SI system. So when we solve 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is equal to 9 into power 10 raised to power 9, we get a value of the epsilon naught, which is 8.854 into 10 raised to power minus 12 coulomb square per Newton meter square. So here this is very important, 1 marks question sometime it is asked. What is epsilon naught? What is its value? What is its unit? So you all know there are 20 objective questions in your scheme of examination. So every point is very important, and follow NCERT. This is my advice. Now vector form, Coulomb's law, vector form. Now half of work has been done. We have found the magnitude. This is magnitude, scalar form. Now just we have to add the direction. That's all. If we develop some mechanism to add the direction, this form will convert to vector form. So now all the work in next slide is for adding the direction to this scalar. F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 divided by r square. So what is the procedure? See in first figure. Focus on first figure. My cursor is black. See two charges, point charges q1, q2 are placed at some distance, and this is set up for vector notation. O is origin, position vector of first charge is r1, position vector of second charge is r2, and this is the distance between two charges. See blue line, arrow is headed towards F21. Along this line, this r21 is the vector along this line, that is from 1 to 2. What will be r21? If we apply triangular law of vector addition in this triangle, we will get r2 minus r1. So r21 is r2 minus r1, and this vector is directed along f21. See, so vector from 1 to 2 is r21, that is r2 minus r1. What will be r12? Opposite to it. r12 directed from 1 to 2. r12 directed from 2 to 1, and r21 directed from 1 to 2. What is r12? 2 to 1. So this direction along which my cursor is moving is direction of r12, and this along which my cursor is moving, this is r21, that is r2 minus r1. So what is r12? Minus of r21. Minus of r21 is r1 minus r2. So r12 is minus r2 r1. We have one result. So this whole exercise we are doing here to apply the vector concept to the force. For this we are using concept of position vector, concept of triangular law of vector addition, and Coulomb's law. See, but our aim is to add direction to this scalar form, that's all. And in vector we know direction can be added by unit vector. So we have to find the unit vector along force F21, along force F12. So R21 is directed along force F21. So What will be unit vector along this direction? This will be vector divided by its magnitude. Similarly, R12 vector divided by its magnitude. We have two unit vectors, R21 and R12, and both are opposite to each other in direction. Magnitude is same, 1 1. So now see, if I add direction to either this equation or this equation, now magnitude will be removed. There is no longer need of the magnitude. So see, now F21 has become vector F21 because we have added direction through unit vector R21. Second, F12, force on 1 by 2, vector F12 is now vector. This part is magnitude and this is direction, R12. So now see, F21 and F12 are equal in magnitude, but their direction is opposite because R12 is minus of R21. Therefore, F12 is equal to minus F21. F12 is equal to minus F21. So if we take F12 as action, F21 is reaction. And what is Newton's third law of motion? For every action there is equal and opposite reaction, and action and reaction never acts on the same body. Same is happening here. F12 is action, that is force on 1 by 2. F21 you can take it as reaction, force on 2 by 1. Both the forces are equal and opposite. So Coulomb's law is strictly in accordance with the Newton's third law of motion. Very interesting. So this is all vector form. We have discussed vector form in vector notation. Very simple. I have simplified it, and this is the sufficient matter. You need not to exaggerate it. This is sufficient. In examination, this is sufficient. Now see figure B. Figure B is also very important to conceptualize it in better way. We know there are two types of forces, repulsion and attraction between the charges. If charges are like, repulsion, charges are unlike, attraction. If charges are like, charges mean positive or negative. Their product will be always positive, that is greater than 0. So see here, condition is Q1 Q2, product of Q1 Q2 is greater than 0. It means both are like charges and they are placed at some distance. So what type of force will be there? Repulsion. See my cursor moving on this direction, force on 2 by 1, this is repulsion. So charge 1 applying force of repulsion on charge 2. See F12 is directed towards this cursor. Cursor is moving, arrowhead is here. F12 is force on 1 by 2 and this is opposite, and force of repulsion will be outward. So this is the explanation of the first figure. In module I have told you I will explain through diagram also. Explanation of diagram is also very important. Now see second figure. If this product of two charges having negative sign, it means both are unlike charges, and their product will be less than 0 on number line. Negative quantities are on left side, less than 0. It means there is force of attraction. See, attraction is written here. And now forces are inward, attraction, and they are acting along the line joining the charges. Now see, F21 is force on 2 by 1, forces of attraction. So charge 1 attracting charge 2 with force F21. Same charge 2 also attracting charge 1 with force F12. Both are equal and opposite, see, as we have proved. So this is vector notation. This is the crux of the vector form. Crux. So I think I have done my job. Now next slide. See, dielectric constant. So here we introduced term permittivity of free space, that is epsilon naught. What is permittivity? I have already explained you. The effect of the medium, property of the medium which determines the magnitude of the force. So here we study it in detail. See, dielectric constant it is also called relative permittivity. Another name of this. Remember, dielectric constant means relative permittivity. And what is permittivity? Meaning of permittivity, as I have already explained you, written here. I read it again. Permittivity is a property of the medium which determines the electric force between two charges situated in that medium. That is, this is the effect of the medium on the force between the charges. So if you change the medium, force will change. Magnitude of force will change. This will not affect the direction, only magnitude. Presence of medium affects the direction, not direction affects only magnitude. So what is dielectric constant? We have to measure this effect. How can we measure effect? We measure effect by the forces because force changes. So the parameter which is changing is the force. So if we divide two forces, we will get the effect of the medium in terms of some number. So if we divide F, force in vacuum, divided by force in medium, we will get a number. This number is dielectric constant. So let us see how we apply it in mathematical notation. See, this is magnitude, a scalar form. F in vacuum 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square. Now in medium as I have already explained you, we have to change epsilon naught Newton because force in the medium. We have taken epsilon, simply epsilon. So what is the name of epsilon? Epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space. What is epsilon? Epsilon is the absolute permittivity of the medium. Absolute permittivity. Absolute. Divide F vacuum divided by F medium. Divide, cancel it. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught cancelled by 4 pi cancel, q1 q2 r square, this cancel. Epsilon goes to numerator, epsilon naught goes to denominator. This blue background box is giving the ratio epsilon by epsilon naught, and this epsilon by epsilon naught is the dielectric constant K. And see, this is epsilon r. This is relative permittivity. See the title, dielectric constant or relative permittivity. Both are same. So now we have understood the effect of the medium on the force. How the medium affects and how can we calculate this effect. This effect is measured in simply number. This number has no unit, dimensionless quantity. So dielectric constant is relative permittivity. Next, 1 coulomb. We have to define 1 coulomb. For defining 1 coulomb or deriving the definition of 1 coulomb, this is the aim of this slide. So we put some values. We take q1, q2, 1 coulomb and r 1 meter, and we put these values in this equation. So here remember 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is 9 into 10 raised to power 9. If we put q1 1, q2 1, r1 1 1 1, only this factor remains, and value of this factor is 9 into 10 raised to power 9. So force comes out to be 10 raised to 9 into 10 raised to power 9 Newton. So force is 9 into 10 raised to power 9 Newton. If charges are of 1 coulomb, they are placed at 1 meter distance. So how can we define it? See. So if Q1, Q2 1 coulomb, R 1 meter, we get force 9 into 10 raised to power 9 Newton. So what will the difference be? 1 coulomb charge is that charge when such two charges are placed at 1 meter distance. They experience the force, electrostatic force of 9 into 10 raised to power 9 Newton. If they are like charges, force will be repulsion. If they are unlike charges, force will be attraction. Magnitude of force is 9 into 10 raised to power 9 Newton. So what is 1 coulomb? Again, 1 coulomb is that much charge. When two such charges are placed in vacuum word is also important, vacuum at 1 meter distance, they experience force of 9 into 10 raised to power 9 Newton. Okay, in alternate way we can say, if two charges of equal magnitude are placed in 1 meter and if they experience a force of 9 into 10 raised to power 9 Newton in vacuum, both charges having unit value, that is 1 coulomb. You can say like this also. So this is the derivation of the 1 coulomb definition. So don't depend on rote memory. Understand. If question comes, derive the definition of 1 coulomb, you have to follow these steps. So what are other units of charge? 1 coulomb is very big unit. We have discussed it. What is that? 1 coulomb means 6.25 into 10 raised to power 18 electrons make 1 coulomb. This is a huge magnitude, but we need some smaller units also. So remember, 1 coulomb charge is constituted by 6.25 into 10 raised to power 18 electrons. So 1 coulomb is macroscopic quantity, not microscopic, macroscopic. So what are other units? See, stat coulomb. Electrostatic unit is also called stat coulomb. This is a CGS system. If two charges, identical charges, are placed at 1 centimeter apart, if they experience one dyne force, then they are said to be 1 electrostatic unit of charge. And relation between 1 coulomb and electrostatic unit is also known as stat coulomb. This is the relationship. Another EMU, electromagnetic unit. This is also called F coulomb. This is 1 coulomb is equal to 1 by 10 F coulomb. Means 1 F coulomb is equal to 10 coulomb. So 1 electromagnetic unit of charge is 1 F coulomb is equal to 10 coulomb. Micro coulomb. Micro word means 10 raised to power minus 6. So 1 micro coulomb is 10 raised to power minus 6 coulomb. These are some other units you can constitute. You have studied in SI system prefixes for smaller units, for bigger units. Okay. Deci, centi, kilo, micro, nano, pico, femto, like this. Now, till now we were studying force between two charges. What will happen if there are more than two charges? Charges are not now two, they are more than two, multiple charges. So let us discuss first system of three charges. Q1, Q2 and Q3 are three charges. This is origin, this is vector representation. Unit vector of Q1 is R1, unit vector of Q2 is R2. Position vector of Q1 is R1, position vector of Q2 is R2, position vector of Q3 is R3. This is origin. Now what is the interaction? Charge 2 will apply force on 1. That is F12 along this line. Charge 3 will apply force on 1. This is force of repulsion. It means these charges are of same nature, same polarity. This is F13. Now if we make parallelogram over F12, F13, diagonal of the parallelogram gives the resultant. So total force on charge 1 is F1, and this will be, F1 will be vector sum of F12 and F13. Now what is F12? Vector notation. F12. F12. F12 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2. This is R12, magnitude of vector R12 square. This is magnitude. And unit vector along force F12 in this direction. What is F13? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. This all we discussing in vacuum or air. Q1 Q3 R13, distance between 1 and 3 is R13. Vector, this is R13 vector, but its magnitude is simply R13 square, and this is unit vector along R13. So total force on this charge Q1 is F12 plus F13, that is. So if there are n charges like this, so if charge 1 is surrounded by many charges, so what will be the force on charge 1? All will apply force on charge 1, and this will be the vector addition of the all forces. Vector addition means sign, direction of the force is also important in deciding the net force on charge 1. So see, on charge 1 all are applying forces. Charge 2, charge 3, charge 4, charge 5, charge n, all are applied. So F12 charge on 1 by 2, F13 charge on force on 1 by 3, F12 force on 1 by 2, F13 force on 1 by 3, F19 force on 1 by nth charge. Total force is this 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught common. Now F12 Q1 Q2 R12 R12 square R12 unit vector. Similarly F13, write all these. So now in summation form, how can we write summation using the sign of the summation? See, 1 1 1 common. This second number is changing from 2 to n, and here Q1 Q2 Q1 Q3 1 1 1 common. Only 2 3 this is changing. So 1 Q1 is common, we take out it common. What is remaining there? Q2 by R12, and 1 is common, so C R1 1 common. I, this second number is changing I, and this is changing in accordance with second 2 2 3 3 and n. So Ri Qi divided by R1I square, R1I square, and I runs from second number runs from 2 to n. I runs from 2 to n. Sorry, here we can write n. So correct it. I runs from 2 to n. This is Qi. So see, so students, correct this. This is n. I 2 to n. So this is the forces between multiple charges. So some typographical mistake is here. I 2 to n. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please, if you like it, post some comments. Until next video, I say goodbye. Take care. Bye bye.